Friday nights have been notoriously terrible for my live stream attendance. And knowing myself, my live stream attendance can have a detrimental effect on my mood. I say that I don't care, that I've put it all behind me. That this is just a hobby, that I'm done playing the game. I don't give a damn about the views. The people come, the people go. If they watch, they watch. If they see, they see. I make these videos for my own amusement. I couldn't care less. 10 or 100 or if one person should see in a month's time, 100 months' time. But truth be told, having once seen the numbers reach as high as 30, 35, 40 people in the live chat. Oh. But then I kind of look out in the midst of my woe and I see Charles Williamson. Saying something rude. Well, I kind of had a nice little thing going there, Charles Williamson. Well, it's not like you're an artist. Here we go there. And we got Tim Frey. Well, that's sure to add a air of class to the proceedings. Buenos noches, BWB fans. He's already been drinking. It's BW fans, Tim. Even as a louse and a pervert, you leave us wanting. But, you leave us wanting. And at least there was an us. So, friends like Charles Williamson, why bother growing up? I will say, Charles, I gotta be completely honest. This tends to be. I will tell you this, Charles. I will be completely frank and obvious. Though I will be cautious because the numbers have been dwindling. So, I don't. But I say this with trepidation. Well, no, not really, but every once in a while, it seems that the stalwarts do hang, but it seems like there does seem to be a bug that catches people every once in a while. I don't mind naming names. Oswald Spangler was an individual, obviously not the Oswald Spangler. Well, I mean, who owns the name? Who was an extremely intelligent contributor to um, the various channels, live chats for a stretch. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right? Just sometimes people just switch. And I'm not saying so, Charles. Just you know what I mean. Just it's you know what I mean. Just sometimes a text is subject to interpretation and misinterpretation. So I apologize if perchance I won't dwell and meditate upon the energy, the body energy with which you entered the room. How's it going anyway? It's going fine. On a Friday night, it's been a while, I guess, folks. I've taken to creating these longer live streams. And at first, I was relying upon StreamYard's AI to generate the clips, but I've been actually doing some editing my own and having a rewarding time, though it takes time. And then when I'm done, it's as a new process and a new rhythm that I'm not used to. I It's odd. I don't know really, do you does the clip make sense? What channel do I put it on? Does it need context? What should I put in the description box below? Will it work? Or should I just at this point make another video? So I have now a rewarding set of personal private experiences of feeling like I'm achieving these new goals of learning how to edit and um, feeling like I'm learning a new way to work with YouTube away from what I had identified as the distractions of the live chats. However, then feeling like I don't really know how it translates, like I'll have a video that I put into a short or a clip and it'll have good views, but you don't really know, what it means, or what it's supposed to achieve. I don't know. Chags 36. Did I get another gold coin? You did. You did actually. You did actually. You get a gold coin onto the for live participation on Kick. Charles Williamson, I forgot. It slipped my mind at the time, but you do earn yourself a gold medal for live participation on YouTube. Tim Frey, a silver onto you. You on Rumble or Locals or Insta or Facebook or maybe Odyssey or something, I bet. Charles, you know that I'm on Instagram. Charles, so we must wonder sometimes about some people, but that's okay. It's okay. We I know it is what it is. No need to worry too much about it. It's an ongoing journey, the journey. And I have my ongoing journey and y'all have yours. And I forget. I don't forget, but that your interactions with my YouTube channel are just the same as my interactions with YouTube channels that I watch. Right? You're trying to get something out of watching YouTube videos. You're not trying to join the Kiss Army, right? You're not trying to sign up to be a member of somebody else's street team to help their dreams become a reality, right? because everyone's out here with a song to sing, right? You're just watching the next video, and that's perfectly acceptable and fine. We say hello to Jonaside joining us on the old YouTube. So I started off the video joking in a joking and jesting tone, but maybe talking about things that you always hear me talk about if you've been watching me on any of my channels. And I have an expanding array of channels, right? If you follow the links in the description box below, you will see that you can join my Patreon. Joining my Patreon is an action you can actually undertake for free. You could join the Patreon and have access to information and data for free. There are paid tiers. The entry point to join the paid tiers of the Patreon it's the minimum allowable by Patreon. It's like $1 and change because it's just $1. But of course, there's service fees, which brings it to actually a little bit more than $1. Of course, you can give more, but hey, to get all that's available. What the hell is this? Let's supposed play that one yet. Preview that yet. It's not time for that. Gotta get you to more instrumental wonders. I thought we had more time. No, that's not gonna work. Bear with me, folks. Oh, here we go. If this doesn't do it, I will deserve a break today. Actually, CW pays me to be in his Patreon. Yeah, but not enough. You know what I mean? Charles Williamson. Whatever did to that guy. Oh, wait. There you go. Where was I? Got distracted. As I'm wont to do. Oh, if you it's I'm a broken record. I say the same things all the time. What am I doing here? The best of all the years have gone by. We're just spinning yarns here. I don't know how to make it work. I make these videos. People only watch 13% of them. What's the point? I'll make the video shorter, concentrated, on one subject at a time. But that's not really how I work. So how am I? You know what I mean? I'm like a circle trying to fit into a square socket. It's just, what are we gonna do? I'm trying to be someone else over here, and that's not gonna work. What's the point? Are we even gonna attract a new audience? YouTube is dying anyway. This is a farce, or is that just negative thinking? Am I the problem? Forget it. We're gonna shut all the channels down. This has all been a mockery of a waste of time. I've said this. I made this realization 5 years ago that this was over and I should stop. What am I still doing here? Forget it. The stream's canceled. Do you know what I mean, Charles? Charles. I'm gonna tell you something. Charles Williamson. You are. This is like, honestly, like, I come back and like, this is the thing. Like, you asked me about Brandon. How's Brandon anyway? Like, this is it. Like, this is like, honestly, like, I have like 6 people. Like, I'm the guy. It's like the Pareto distribution, right? With like, if I had 30 people watching me, like, there'd be like 3 people up my ass giving me a hard time, making me distracted and making me not be able to concentrate on doing what I need to do. when there were three people here, one of them was Charles Williamson, who's a very fine artist. Can I tell you something? He's a very fine artist. I'm assuming he's like had some sort of like problem in his life, which is now making him be a jerk in the live chat. You know what I mean? Like only beautiful people come to my live chat to like have their final breakdown. That's what happened to Oswald Spangler. Oswald Spangler was like a beautiful guitar player. Brandon Young, like these people come and like have their final breakdown, right? In my live chat. They like just deteriorate. And just like oh my god. Am I banned too from Twitch? I'm on Twitch right now, Charles. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell happened to you? Oh my god. You know what I mean? Like, this is my life. You know what I mean? Like, if this is like why this is why. So anyway, folks. So this is the other thing. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this live stream, and then the theory is that I'm gonna go in and chop up this live stream into multiple segments that will be eventually tossed up and put onto various channels that no one is going to watch. So I start these various channels as various experiments, some of which I advertise on the Patreon, some of which. And Jonaside's another guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one gives me any love or support. You know, that's the other thing that I love about you, absolute, total fucking, you know what I mean? Total absolute heroes of my life. You know what I mean? And it's not like I've been there for any of you people. Do you know what I mean? Like, here I am, like, absolutely 100% verbalizing that I'm like, you know, like not necessarily 100%. And this is like been the story of my life. I don't think that I've ever had an opportunity. I've been like, you know what I mean? Where I've been like, where I've articulated like that. Well, this is probably not the case. I'm speaking in I just made a statement about an absolute, so it's probably not the case that what I just said is true. To play it out, what I was about to articulate was to say it's never been the case that I'll be streaming and talking about how I am ticked off, pissed off, upset, distressed about the activity of A, B, C, or D individual in the live chat, and then gotten support by any other individual in the live chat. Now, that's probably not the case. It probably is the case that on some occasion, people have been supportive of me in the live chat. But generally, I don't feel that that's been my experience, which has made it be the case why I've so frequently said, that's it. I'm not doing these live streams anymore. Or if I do these live streams, I'm going to ignore the live chat. You guys can talk amongst yourselves, but I'm just going to go full steam ahead and just talk to myself and just be like, you know, fuck y'all. Do you know what I mean? But whatever, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It is what it is. To thine own self be true, you know what I mean? I appreciate the watch. I appreciate you people. Everyone's got their own lives. People are subject to misinterpretation. It's totally cool. Like, and I absolutely believe you may. I am also aware of the fact that it's probably me. And I don't need to be this way. You know what I mean? I really don't need to be a dick about this. So I'm gonna hit the old reset button, click, and just be like, okay, folks, thank you for that enduring that first 19 minutes and 42 seconds of wow, Friday night. How are you guys doing? How's life been for you? It may be the case that I'm also going to stop the music because I think the music going from thing to thing is not necessarily the best thing for me. But whatchamacallit? Here was the idea. Hell, Joe decide. Second on, I think you're the first on Twitch. I think you're the first on Twitch. So gold medal on to you. So we got wins coming up for people, folks. We got wins coming up for people. Okay. We keep on rocking. We keep on rocking. And we keep on moving through the momentum. Joe decides doing the AI music. So, couple things that I want to do. So, this being the Friday night stream, and I do thank you. 6 people watching me live. I do thank you. I do thank you. Even though I know some of that's probably duplicative because some of you are watching me on Kick and Twitch and YouTube. I still appreciate that. You know what I mean? Damn, I don't even take that into consideration. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I forget that none of this means anything. Anyway, forget it. It's all Dooku. It's all attachment. Let me just process. I'll figure it out. I'm a work in progress. I gotta give myself a break. You know what I mean? We're all in distress. We're all under fire. Anyway, how you been? How you been? My agenda for tonight is not really an agenda. I have some things on the docket that I thought I would throw down on the old stream. I'm not one for predicting the future. I've had bad luck with predicting the future before. But it may be the case that if it's not the case that you watch the entirety of this live stream, not that you shouldn't, you should watch the entirety of this live stream, but if you don't, then the various segmentations of it will end up being various segments that at one point or another will end up various segments on this thing. So a couple of things that I want to do is I've got some what I think are interesting little micro story news items from the TTRPG YouTube community that I know. Now, this is not TTRPG news that anyone else might have reported on. This is not talking about Diamond Distribution and them fucking over Green Ronin or Roll for Combat or stealing, Goodman Games products or any of that or the implications that might have. No, on the industry. No. This is actually micro news that'll give me an opportunity to talk about real people, real YouTubers that I watch on TTRPG YouTube. One of whom I think I mentioned them a lot actually over the years on this space. And one I don't think I've mentioned before, but who I think is really interesting or important if you want to know about Japanese TTRPGs. And the reason I want to talk about these people was because that's what I think is really we should remember is that what should matter is people. And what we should, not really act like matter so much is the stuff that really doesn't matter at all. These like culture wars or this, nonsense that sometimes gets mixed into it. And that what we should really be looking for in, content creators is people whose life energy and whose style elan and reality and whose actual work, like whose actual product comes through and gives us something, tangible rather than this endless regurgitation of speculation of possible implications of constant recycled regurgitation, trash rumor mill nonsense of have you heard the latest about Watsy and can you believe such and such has done it again? And then I also want to talk about and reflect upon the fact that I've known that Friday night. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. This will only take a minute. Give me a second. Uh, there you go. What does this mean? Charles Williamson has been timed out for 24 hours. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna. You're damn right. Charles Williamson. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Charles Williamson, you know what I mean? Like then that's when I fucking now banned. You know what I mean? Like you maybe then watch fucking what's his face? I don't know, fucking you know what I mean? Like you just you just had to fucking do it. And I got it and I'll give him props again. No, no. Charles Williamson is a dude. Who do I know? I don't know anybody, right? But the Oswald Spangler thing is the reference. Now people gank people's identities all the time. But it hasn't happened in like a million years. There was one guy who did it all the time, and he was famous. He was a famous dude. I'm not mentioning his name. He was from back in the day. Back in the day, we're not mentioning his name because if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. But I'm going to tell you what. On Instagram, Charles Williamson, who I believe is the Charles Williamson that I'm interacting with now in this live chat, shares with me or shared with me in the past some of the, without a doubt, dopest art that, that anyone has shared with me. Real art, not digital shit. canvases and shit, like art. You know what I mean? But as of late, he rarely has showed up in live chats, but as of late, when he did show up in live chats, he was on, as the Brits would say, right? On one, right? On a fucking tear. It's nothing personal, right? Dude, I'm not saying that I ever worked security. I'm not saying I ever worked security at a show. I have never worked security at a show, right? That doesn't mean I've never worked the door. You know what I'm saying? Right? Bro, you can't come in, man. What do you mean I can't come in, man? What the fuck in, man? Why be the dick? Why be the dick? Why be the dick? I'm not being a dick, man. You're fucking wasted, bro. We can't. You're gonna fuck up. Dude, you already fucking got sick in the fucking front yard, man. You gonna fucking. I'm sorry, man. You can't come in, man. It's okay. It's a rented VFW hall, man. So it is what it is. Charles William can come back. I hope he doesn't get. But do not lie. There are people, and what's crazy is it's the same thing with um that went down with several other people. I've said it before and I've said it again. The people are like, oh man, I can't believe when I talk about people that have really gotten up my ass and really terrorized me online, people are like, oh, and they naturally assume that I'm talking about the dude who sued me or some guy else in his coterie or his wheelhouse. No, no, it's been the people that I've let get closest to me. And I tell people all the time, there are people in that are in the live chat now who constantly say hello to people. And I'm like, do you not remember that I told you that that individual fucking stalked me? And they obviously forgot. You know what I mean? And and when I don't get banged up, I'm not gonna say that I never got banged up about, but when I realize it's like, dude, I remember every moment of my life because it's my life. But I realize like people tune in, like I do the math and I realize, dude, Charles, Tim didn't ban you. I banned you. And if you listened, I said this Charles John Williamson, if it's the same Charles John Williamson that I know from Instagram, and if it's you, I said shares some of the dopest art with me on Instagram that I see. You're a dope artist. I am telling you, Charles, you are being a total dick in my live chat. What the fuck is up? What's your problem, bro? So the question will be for you whether or not, and I'm not going to do the whole, oh, will you be a man about it? Because that makes it a gendered paradigm. Oh, you're a bot. Okay, no, you're not a bot. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told Brandon and I told Oswald when they went down this alley. Okay, when a person who at a previous point in time was able to be sincere, honest, open, and a sharer of with me of personal information and art all of a sudden out of nowhere starts wilding out and showing up, there's probably one of two explanations going on, right? Something really fucked up and tragic happened to you that's got you upset, and you can't get at the person who really upset you, so you're going to come at me because you know I'll get activated, or some flip switched in your brain or something, or you're getting more fucked up again. So, a couple of things. So if you're not the real Charles Williamson that I know from the Insta, my apologies to that dude. But it's not really that I would owe him an apology because, you're someone just, ganked his identity. If I want to be like that, I'm just a dude who started a live stream on a Friday night to do a live stream. You're the individual who decided to come in here and just, you know, and be you and do this. But hey, congratulations. You derailed the stream. But that's okay because streams get derailed, right? And I'm the guy to let them get derailed. You go and order a pizza, visit the payday, and you miss Charles getting time out, not blocked, just a timeout. No, it comes right back. But I do not start slagging people off just because I reply. Baby, if you think that if you think that you got any moral ground to turn it on me, baby, right? I'm gonna tell you what, you don't. Because there's nothing stopping you as an adult to say, holy shit, wow, damn, CW Chanter was streaming and I was just joking around in there, but fuck, man, I really upset him, man. Maybe I'll send him an email or a DM on Instagram saying, shit, man, I'm so sorry I upset you. I really didn't mean to derail your live stream. Sorry about that. There was a misunderstanding. But instead, you came back on Twitch and said, oh, I see you tried to block me or stop me or send me a clear and concise message that you're upset with my behavior on your live chat. Instead of taking that message, I'm going to come and say, fuck your message of telling me that I upset you or telling me that I'd gone past the boundary. And instead, I'm really going to double down and go past that boundary again. That makes you the asshole. I'm clearly communicating to you as a human being to a human being that you did something that you shouldn't have done. You're the person who's refusing to accept that and as an adult and is refusing to say something very simple, which is what? What could you say? You could say what? Think about what you could say at this moment. You could take stock. You could think about what's going on. You could accept responsibility and say, okay, Charles, it's fine by me. There are times when I know that I'm in the right. Hey, man, are there times when I thought that I've been in the right and then I later learned that I was wrong? Sure. But that's okay. But I'm going to move on now. Can you do me a favor, Charles? Could you do me a favor, Charles? I'm just asking you a simple question. Could you do me a favor? It's a simple favor. It's a simple request. It's a simple request. I will get my coat. Thank you. That was it. You predicted it. There you go. That's it. Have fun. You know what I mean? I wish you no harm. I wish you no ill will. You know what I mean? We say hello to Jesus J. Welcome to the proceedings. We might have, and then in addition to that, listen, I think this will be a sequitur. Just go, dude. Just if you tell me you're getting your coat, it's just that's what you do, and you get the coat, and then you fucking go, bro. You know, just keep, you just get the fucking coat. Okay, I love you, man. I really do. I love you. It's just I don't the fuck. It's just not our day, right? It's just okay. We'll try again tomorrow. Listen, Jesus, I ain't your bro, man. I ain't your buddy, pal. Charles, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's okay. You don't have to be, man. Actually, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, or fortunately for both of us, you are. So deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? You bite well. Okay, whatever, dude. You just relax. You know what I mean? You could have you could have played this out 1,000 times better. Yeah, I know. I'm so triggered. You know what I mean? Oh, I know. I'm so triggered. You're actually, I've actually people say that, and I'm past the point of being triggered over being accused of being triggered, because it's like people being called, like telling me sometimes that I'm a diva, and it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I will not tolerate bullshit in my dojo. You were being out of pocket. So I was like, I could have been like, I'm just gonna let this go on, or I could have been like, this is nonsense. So I'm gonna address it. So I addressed it. You want to say that that's being triggered? That's like saying, oh, you know what I mean? Like, when I noticed the guy was gonna punch me in the face, I took a defensive stance and maneuver. I was triggered by his, attempting to punch me in the face. It is what it is. Don't worry about apologizing to anybody. It is what it is. Let's move on to J. Scott Garrett. And later on, oh my God, this Friday night, the title of today's video is Friday Night is for Solo Narrative Gameplay Scenarios and Breaking Free. Ironically, anyway, Cliff High, you're the best. Charles Williamson, you're the best. You're the best, honestly. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Remind me to send you something for Christmas. Okay. Everything I said about your art was 100% true. Fantastic artist. I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, there you go. Oh my God. Let's, I can close this video. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's talk about, let's take a minute to talk about J. Scott Garrett. So I, before I do, can you send me the instructions how to play? I could. Can you send me the instructions on how to play? I could send you the instructions on how to play. Will I send you the instructions on how to play? No. I'm not doing you any favors. Not for you, sir. No, 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 no. You have used up your good guy points. You know what I mean? Exactly. Anyhow, I'll give you one of these. Charles Williamson. You get the creature. J. Scott Garrity, still insane, imagine. Yes, we are going to. This is actually a segue that works. I also want to say it was my intention because the jump chain stuff was working, I should have then taken the opportunity to concentrate on the jump chain material. I then, because the jump chain material was working, I started doing more J. Scott Garraby material, which did not work. I always do things the wrong way. Like seeing this Charles John Williamson stuff start popping off in the live chat. I should have ignored it. Instead, I steered right into it. J. Scott Garraby, the latest update, well, it's similar. There's always a couple things going on in J. Scott Garraby land, but a couple of things we could talk about. I don't want to concentrate on the political stuff because the political stuff is insanity, and it might be, just a quagmire. Like there's just like no point. But one thing that's tangible that I noticed that a through line that was developing that I thought I had to talk about, even though I was so desperate to keep myself on track to get back to the jump chain material, was so this guy Five-ish Finkel. No, this guy Runehammer Deluxe. Has anyone else, Chegs 36 over on Kick says, has anyone else noticed J. Scott Garraby's black gums and oral mucus? Both are common side effects of antipsychotic medication. I did. Here's what I want to concentrate on. He's developed a fixation on Runehammer games. And it's gotten to the point where the guy Runehammer Games has a physical location in Philadelphia. And we know that a couple of weeks ago, J. Scott Garraby went there on a kind of pilgrimage. After the guy from Runehammer Games commented on one of his videos. And he met him and he had him sign several of his books and this whole 9 yards. We know that subsequent to this going to the Runehammer Game Shop in Philadelphia, J. Scott Garraby has gone back several times. It appears. And we know that he's gone back at least one more time because he went there to play in a professional Dungeons and Dragons one shot. Now, where I'm going with this and what I'm leading up to and what I'm kind of cringe-tastically, desperately scared to see where it's going is that he's been talking about this one shot a lot. And if people know anything about pre-generated games and professionally run DM experiences, is that they're a little bit like plays. They're like intellectual property, and you got to be kind of sensitive about spoiler alerts. It's like if you see reviews of pre-generated dungeons or DM modules, people are kind of like, you got to be a little bit sensitive about like spoiler alerts and stuff. Now, where I'm particularly interested in is that oh wow, I'm sorry, that's tough, Tim. I'm tough stuff work. Um, is that he said some things that seem like this video in particular I'm gonna show you is he's going into a direction that I think is aiming in a way that it could set him up to be in direct confrontation with the people, the nice people over at Runehammer Games. And the easiest way to discuss it is to just watch the video with you. And I think when we watch the video together, we'll step through it. We'll step through what he's talking about, what he says. And I think you'll pick up on exactly what I mean and what I'm talking about. And you'll get at what I think I'm talking about, which is this thing that J. Scott Garrity has where it's just like he refuses to be able to have friends. And he refuses to leave things in a way where they won't get uncomfortable or bad. It seems to be that he's behaving in a way that is systematically designed to get him into trouble or to get the people that ran this adventure for him upset with him. Okay, let's just watch the video together, and I think you'll pick up on what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. So the title of the video is Who Owns the Story from a One Shot? Narrative sketch, narrative painting, narrative sculpture. Who owns the story from a one shot? Who owns the story from a one shot? Who owns the story? I think you sense where he's going with that and why that might be a problem.
Friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about what happens at the
fair use, by the way. Fair use. The purpose of this video is to discuss J. Scott Gariby's opinion on the pertinent question in the TTRPG community: who owns the story from a one shot?
End of one shots. Okay. So I'm going to talk today about.
Do we have any problems with the audio? We could forget about, Tim's dying cantankerous old man, not to be insensitive for a minute. I'm teasing, of course. I'm teasing. I'm trying to add some levity to the situation. No audio is good. Now, do you mean that you don't hear any audio and that's good? Or do you mean that, no, the audio is good? And I'm sorry for making a joke about Tim's old man. I thought it was, I sometimes have ideas that I think are good ideas. Tim, feel free to say that it was okay and you appreciated the joke, right? It's a good joke, right? Because you know what I mean? You appreciate jokes like that. That's where we are in our relationship. Jokes like that are cool. Tim? Come on. Are you fucking serious? Tim, are you fucking serious? Tim, come on. Hey, are you? Come on, Tim. Come on. I kid. Thank you. Thank you. Let the record show that after a reasonable, I kid because it is what I do. See, there you go. They were joking. Let the record show that Tim Frey acknowledged that it was fine. Oh yeah, there we go. Here we go. Close that. Go back to here.
Yeah. Okay, so I recently played in a one shot. I've actually done a complete breakdown of it. It happened at
a complete breakdown
at the Runehammer store, the physical Philadelphia FLGS, and I paid $50 for one session.
What can I get for $5? Anything you want. What can I get for $50? You get one professionally DM game of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. That's the worst. Damn. Mine doesn't go as far as it used to.
To play in a one shot, okay? And I want to talk about what happens with one shots, and what I really want to talk about is what happens to one shots when they're done. Okay.
That's like a philosophical quote. What happens to one shots when they're done? Well, what happened? Like what happens to the record after you're done listening to it, man? Like, where's the music go? I don't know what you mean, Charles. Like, after you pick up the needle off the record, like, does it just like stop? Like the vibrations you were talking about. No, they're still there, but without the needle moving across them and then moving the speaker cone, they're not activated. So like they're there, but they're not there. No, they're still there. We can't. Okay. Okay, we don't need to do that anymore.
And what are the narrative paths forward? All right, so let's dig into this. So I played in this in the D&D train heist with Caddy. Caddy is a dungeon master. She's extremely good at what she does. She crafted an incredible story.
But what does she look like? I mean, is she, doable? I'm kidding. I'm joking about men and their propensity in general to reduce women to an image or a visage. That's not how I look at things. I'm making a joke.
And then brought it to 3 players, right? And those 3 players then interacted with it and broke some of it, changed some of it, deleted some of it, right?
Did they? Or did they play the game, right? The DM had an adventure in mind, and then as per the general activity of TTRPG gameplay, there were forks in the road, decisions to be made, options to be had, encounters to be dealt with, situations to be mitigated, and they deleted things. I don't know that, but hey.
And fundamentally changed her story, so that by the time we were done, that story belonged to 4. That story had 4 participants, 4 human participants, and 4 inanimate participants.
Okay, before we get to the inanimate participants, let's talk about the animate participants. Let's talk about the notion of, hey man, just because, hey, look, keep on the Borderlands, the classic Dungeons & Dragons module. Literally thousands of young, impressionable, and not so young, impressionable players have gone through the classic module, Keep on the Borderlands. Some have gone to the left. Some have gone to the right. I think Keep on the Borderlands is the one which one's got the pools? Anyway, or I don't know if that's Into the Unknown. Anyway, regardless, did they change it? They had unique individual experience. I mean, look, we all read books, but we all have our individual impressions of the book, right? Our individual takeaways. Does that mean we changed the book? I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
And what we do in Dungeons and Dragons is so complicated and so fresh and so new that what I'm saying is we really haven't unpacked at all what is happening with Dungeons and Dragons games. And I've done some very extensive discussions about Orion Akaba. And I think this is connected to that, in that people think they know what's happened with Orion Akaba, and I'm telling you, you have no idea what has happened with Orion Akaba or what the future will hold for Orion Akaba. And the reason why is, and this is not me just, spouting off, right? We really are at the start of something incredible, right? People are like, oh, Scott, it's simple. They were a group of friends, and they told a story together, and then they didn't like him, and he's not part of the friend group anymore, and that's why he's no longer at the table. And I'm like, you ridiculous
fools.
Maw-flapping fool. Why do you even open your mouth?
Listen to me.
This was a global corporation who started a story. That story was presented to the world in one format. Then it was presented to the world in six other formats. One of those formats involved a billionaire, Jeff Bezos. Some of those formats involved
Bezos is a billionaire.
Comic book companies, Dark Horse Comics, right? Some of those formats involved puppets. Like, you have no idea what's happening.
Once you go puppet, that's
ownership, of Dungeons and Dragons stories.
Once you go puppet,
completely ununderstood and untested, right?
Once you've gone
puppet, there are stakes on the ground. We need to figure this out as a community.
Stakes on the ground,
and start to decide as a community. And the reason why is we don't want the law touching this. The law doesn't understand what we do, and they never will. And we need to decide as a community, right? Like in the Bible, I'm an evangelical Christian, and the Bible's like, hey, when you're going to the judge, talk to the freaking person you have an issue with and figure it out before you get there, because you don't want the judge deciding, right? Like, and there's so much at stake here. So, so this wonderful dungeon master runs this one shot for me and for two other players, right? She has invested a good part of that story, right? I have invested in that story. The other two player characters have invested in that story. And get this, the math rocks. Everybody's dice also are responsible for that story. This has never happened in the history of humanity, right? That the responsibility for a story exists with human participants and inanimate objects.
The responsibility has never... But wait, sir, good sir. The responsibility lies with inanimate objects. Well, number one, there have been things that have been determined by chance operations and games of chance before. So I wouldn't say that that's the case too. I mean, they determine, like, things like the kickoff of games and stuff, or who gets the ball first by, flips of the coin at, gaming events and stuff. So there are problems with that analysis from the get-go. I've just established that
those human participants have brought to the table. It is profound, and it is complex, and it is beautiful, and there are real.
But there's been, like, because the living theater, right? These, like, improv groups predated the publication of Dungeons and Dragons in 1974.
Stakes to this question, okay? And so I want to pose the question today, and I'm going to propose an answer, and then we're going to have a conversation as the Dungeon Dragons.
But where we're going, this is where I think it's going to get dangerous for him and Runehammer Games, because basically what he's going to end up saying is that he owns partially this pre-generated adventure, who he's going to concede or admit that the young woman who ran the adventures said she intended to publish. So that's good. I mean, it's a jerky thing to say. It's not the big deal. I really should dump out of this video. This whole live stream has been a complete and total abortion.
Community. Okay. Who owns the story of Dungeons and Dragons train heist with Caddy, right?
Caddy, because Caddy authored the original materials. You know what I mean? She prepped it. She wrote it. She wrote whatever intellectual property constitutes it. You know, she ran it for the group. She owns it. She's the author, however she chooses, or they, whatever their pronouns are, chooses to define themselves. They wrote the material. They own it.
It's a really good question, right? Now, here's my answer.
That's been answered. Your answer is irrelevant because your answer is going to be based on something ridiculous, which you obviously just want to start. You just want to make it what has been obviously so far an okay relationship that you've established with Runehammer Games. You want to make it uncomfortable because that'll be some sort of way to, maybe extend the relationship by creating some sort of online beef.
I believe that all 4 people, I own a part of it, Katie owns a part of it, the other 2 player characters own a part of it, right?
What about so then does the ownership keep on extending out? More and more people play it. Does everyone who ever played keep on the Borderlands own a part of it with Gary Gygax? Would you go that far? What if we didn't run it as a one shot? Is this some sort of rule of ownership that only applies to one shots?
Right. I believe we can cut out the inanimate objects. Now you're like, wait a second, why do you?
Is that like that? I think it's like parsing that out as some sort of conceit that they could show as reasonableness. Yeah, people thinking that I'm unreasonable by saying that we own the property as well as Katie. Bear in mind that an argument could also be made that the Math Rocks are also owners, but I'll concede that may be a tenuous argument, so I'll allow that the Math Rocks don't actually own anything.
But you get to cut them out. Same reason that monkey who took that picture did not get to keep it, right? Like
well, the monkey that didn't get to keep his photo is completely non-related to the Math Rocks not owning a piece of this because that had to do with international law. It had to do with copyright involving photographs, which is something else. And the monkey is an actual living thing, not too distant in genetic relationship to human beings, close in intelligence to a lot of human beings that have intellectual property rights and civil rights. A mentally challenged or intellectually challenged individual who took a photograph would be able to maintain their intellectual property rights over the photograph, which was much of the legal argumentation that was brought by the people that wanted to have the monkey. I think it's actually a great ape. Be able to have get the proceeds from the photo that would help him and his relatives and the community of animals or whatever, primates. And of course, Math Rocks dice are not living things. So J. Scott Garrity should know this because J. Scott Garrity we as a society allow J. Scott Garrity to operate a motor vehicle. Hopefully, there should be some sort of system in place that says if you operate a motor vehicle, you should be able to make the distinction between that which is living and that which is dead.
The courts were like, hey, this monkey took a dope picture, a super dope picture with somebody else's equipment. Does it get to own that picture? No, it does not. It's a monkey, right? Like, there you go, right? Like,
it was a very nuanced decision that went on for a lot of pages, and there were multiple appeals, and it went back and forth. So it's like he's reductionist, and he's not giving the full story. But I'm not going to mire into it because I don't have the full information and facts before me.
Same thing. Like
it's absolutely not the same thing. The fact that you would say the same thing goes to show you how limited your analysis of life is. You're saying that this living thing is the same as a die. And you're doing all of this in order to make some sort of ridiculous argument that you, as a player in a game, somehow have the same sort of some sort of intellectual property claim to the written material presented by the DM, which is redonkulous.
And this is part of the discussion, right? Do those dice own part of the story? I say no. They're inanimate objects. They don't have. They're not thinking entities. Okay. And so they don't get to own a part of it, right? I believe that all four of us own that. Now, what can we do with it? All right, here we go.
Now, this is where, now, if you can imagine this, imagine if you are this individual who actually ran this game. I'm going to tell you what, if you're a professional DM, imagine you're a professional DM and it is your desire to publish this module that you've written and have run eventually on D&D Beyond or whatever it's called now, or on DriveThruRPG or on itch.io. Can you imagine the nightmare scenario of seeing this dude with 3.46 thousand, almost 4,000 subscribers, all of a sudden breaking down every inch, every move of the campaign, of the one shot, and then saying, in addition to that, just blatantly saying it's his opinion that he owns as much of it as you do? How would you feel? Just how would you feel? You know what I mean?
I think there are three things that can be done with it. All right. And I'm going to say, in my opinion, that for all three of these,
Hank Furnell, that's the guy who's blanking on the guy's name. Now, this guy's J. Scott Carabby is going to go back into Hank Furnell's shop. Now, Hank Furnell may find out that J. Scott Carabby made a video like this, or he may not. Who gives a shit, right? He may not give a shit. Or he might feel like, whatever, dude. Or he might, I don't know.
These things that can be done with it. Each of the people at the table has the right to move forward and do each one of these. That's my opinion. All right, here we go. So first, they can do a narrative sketch.
It's like basically if I was like, in fact, now that I think about it, Charles Williamson was in the live chat derailing this thing. Remember I said that he shared with me some of his art? I'm going to just go ahead and put that art on a t-shirt. Fuck him. You derailed my stream. I put your art on a t-shirt. Fuck it. I'm not going to actually do it, but I think I could. I'm not going to. I never would. I don't save any of the shit he sent me, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? But it's just like, can you imagine if you're out there that just Scott Garaby's like, I think I can take that. I think I own that shit. It's just like it's just a nightmare. It's just a fucking pain in the ass. And it really, my point is that this is like why J. Scott Garaby can't have friends. He had like a fun experience meeting Hank Furnell over at fucking Runehammer Games. And what does he do? He goes back over and over. You know that guy who just keeps on going back until people are like, fuck off. You again. Oh, you're back. Ugh. Yeah. You again. Look who it is. Danny. All right. Danny. Right on schedule. Before the bar even opens up, here you are. Holding open the door. All right. It's not even game time, but here you are. Okay.
What the heck is a narrative sketch? So one, I played in this game. I loved it. If you want to know the story, it's right here. You can listen to it on my channel, right? It's
the whole goddamn story.
It's under the my journey with the Runehammer store, and it tells the entire story of
the entire story. Wrote a song about it. Like to hear it? Here it goes.
So we told that story, right? But this is my point. One shots.
Here's my point. Here's my point. I don't need to look at the live chat to know that Tim Frey's noticing the exact same thing that I am. This dude is just coasting. J. Scott Garaby, no hands on the wheel, Car is in motion, just coasting. Coasting. His new one is too jumpy. Oh my God, I just saw that. I swear to God. Hold on. Checks. I've seen the gorilla using sign language who's got a much better grip on reality than J. Scott Garvey. Look at this. Here we go. Hey, homie, I checked your video. Seems like you're a new and Kick, not yet affiliated and verified. I got a proposal for you by sharing your stream to a Kick community for you to gain 1,000 followers, earning at least $60 per stream, and enable sub button. Add me on Discord. Now I'm cool. Actually, it's not drugs. J. Scott Garvey got rid of Steadicam. His new one is too jumpy. J. Scott Garvey was like, give driving tickets. No, seriously. No. The guy is absolutely a terrible driver. Look, just coasting. Look at this. It's like, yo, this is not a self-driving auto. This guy is not in a Tesla. Watch him though.
The moment I was done with it, I didn't stop.
This guy's just coasting.
In my mind. There was no ending to it. I was like, oh, well, that story ended with me inviting the other player characters to come adventure with my player character.
Yo, right? No now, hands on the wheel.
Here's a narrative sketch. I believe driving. I have the right to use momentum and tell the rest and tell as much of the story as I would like. Right? I have ownership, air quotes, of that player character, even though Caddy made it. Right? It was physically gifted to me. She gave me the character sheet. And I didn't just take it. I was like, hey, can I write on this? Right. And she said, not only can you write on it, but you can take it. It's yours. Right. And I can't. That's it. Not only can you write on it, you can take it. It's yours. That doesn't mean you like own the you telling you that you can take the character sheet and you can write on it. That is like not tantamount to like you own the intellectual property of like the adventure, dude. You know what I mean? I love that. So you're saying I can take the ticket stub? Sure. So that means I own the rights to the movie. No. Cannot tell, like, the complexity of what we are doing on Dungeons and Dragons is so outrageously. But what makes it like Dungeons and Dragons? Like, why isn't it Dungeons and Dragons, Tunnels and Trolls, and Traveler all came out the same year? Like, what is this? Like, I love the guy. Right. And I'm telling you, we haven't unpacked what's happening with the ownership of Dungeons and Dragons stories. And the stakes on it. We actually have, though. Like, all of this has been adjudicated. Like, we actually all know this. Like, Gary Gygax and, innumerable other people have gone to court multiple times. Like, we know what actually is all this stuff actually means. It's literally billions of dollars, right? It's millions of dollars. Like, that is happening right now with Critical Role. They took a Dungeons and Dragons story. They scrubbed off the serial numbers, and they sold it to Jeff Bezos. And they are not crediting Dungeons and Dragons with that story, right? Because it's not Dungeons and Dragons story. It's what makes it Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is like, especially now, it's all turned into a franchise. Like, what is it? Like, was it rolling numbers? Like, that's not contained within elves and Goliaths and gnomes and centaurs and whatever. That's just all fantasy stuff. But everybody who comes to it is like, oh, this is a Dungeons and Dragons story, right? I don't believe there's anyone who watches that and doesn't understand that it's a Dungeons and Dragons story, right? And maybe there might be a few people now, but they will find out soon enough, right? And so the ownership question is incredibly complex, okay? So I believe what we have first is a sketch, okay? And that would be me telling the story and writing it down and keeping it for myself and sharing it with anybody I want. As many adventures as I want with those three characters. And my ability to do that, and just to be clear, this isn't just me saying this. This was already done. I think that there's an anime, very famous anime. I think it's Log Horizon. But there's an anime where they literally. He's talking about Record of Lodoss War, because whatchamacallit, like,
So the other thing like that really like irks me about TTRPG YouTube is watching the top layer scum of TTRPG YouTube produce radical amounts of just not necessarily disinformation, but just kind of like speculative nonsense verbiage that just gets like floated out and you could just like see it then just permeate out for like the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and just like everybody just repeat it. And it's just like, so just like one person will just like one like kind of BuzzFeedy kind of person will finally talk about Record of Lodoss War from like 1983 out of Japan, and then for like the next like 2 weeks, like the normies like are all talking about Record of Lodoss War, just dropping references to it. You know what I mean?
We did this. Like they like ended the campaign and then somebody continued it with their anime. Right? They're like, I don't need, I don't need D&D to continue to tell the story. I can just make a show about whatever happens next, which is fascinating. I think that's absolutely fascinating, right? That's a sketch. I write the story and I decide what happens, and I can tell as much of it as I wish. And then, in that perspective, right? Those other player characters. Oh man, wait, that's a good question. Do I have a right to do that? Because I would then be saying what those other player characters do. That's interesting. Oh, wait, this is interesting. I think I could write the story. I could write the
Now,
story.
also remember this, that he's also the guy that tells us my stuff is not improvised. I don't make this stuff up. All my stuff is thought out beforehand, and I just, I think it, I think it out, live, but it's all decided beforehand. But you can tell that he's absolutely not deciding these things. Why am I doing this? I'm done. Hold on.
What happened with those player characters and make decisions for them in a narrative space, but I could not play them if I continued it with Dungeons and Dragons. So here's the other.
He's like this thing in this narrative space. Like this is the other thing. Like I don't want to get this way, but you know what I mean? Like I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Other question is, okay, so that's a sketch. I simply write the story and I presume what happens with those other player characters, right? I write down, I decide what happens with those other player characters. And then I believe I would have the right to share that. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Narrative sketch. Now let's talk about a narrative painting. A narrative painting would be me deciding to run the game myself, right? I would have the right to use Rosita because I played that player character. And that player character became mine when I played it, right? Even though Katie built it, right? I would not have the right to give those other player characters to anyone else because they belong to those other players, right? And I could not play them. I feel very strongly about this, that no one has the right to decide player character actions for a player character in a tabletop role-playing game, except the person who originated that character. And by the way,
but you just said that those characters were originated by Katie, the DM. So what makes you think that she's not going to give Rosita as a character to some other player? Dude, it's like, I don't know. It's
this is
okay.
interesting. A player character doesn't exist until it's played. If you write a player character and you never play it, it's nothing. It doesn't count. It does not count. If you make a single decision at the table with that player, if you say a single line of dialogue, you've created that player character. But it has to actually, it's birthed at the table. It's not birthed when it's set down on paper. That's not enough.
I have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm dumping out of this because I don't care anymore. And yeah, we don't want to do that. No, 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 no. I never encourage. I don't even encourage joking about narking on people. We don't. And not all cops are bastards, but any of the ones that we would possibly send evidence to would be cops. We don't want to do that. We're not narcs. And they wouldn't do anything anyway. The other thing I want to do, we're at the hour and a half mark. This live stream turned out to go on a million different directions. It did go into a million different directions. It went into one direction, directly into the crapper. This live stream was a total and absolute total fucking abortion. The J. Scott Garrity segment didn't land. We got off on the wrong foot with Charles Williamson. It just wasn't meant to be. I think it's like the Doors. Did I really compare it to the Doors? Did I compare this abortion of a live stream to the Doors? I'm not really that into the Doors. The other thing I was gonna do was I was gonna try to get to this jump chain thing. I thought that my previous jump chain document coverage, I think, was too suffered because I tried to do too much. I'd overextended myself. So I had innumerable jump documents that I had collected that I thought were worthy of coverage that I was just gonna like kind of blow through, just kind of give you an overview. You still pull cards. I absolutely do still pull cards. In fact, that's what I'm gonna do at the end here. Because this is something to pull out of. I won't private it. We'll let it be what it is. And it'll just be an abortion. Jonacide live on stream. And we will hope that something will arise from it. That the occurring of the occurrence will be something to somebody. That the life moments will find their resonance somewhere along the way. And as I said, as has been my pattern, I have been playing back the tapes and editing them down and finding clips to place other places. It may be the case that we find clips contained within this monstrosity. I doubt it. I really do feel as though this has been a particularly nightmarish hell ride through It's All Over, and this whole thing has been pointless. And we should just all give up. We should all just quit. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I felt that way before. Hold on. And if I didn't learn my lesson then, there's no reason to think that I learned my lesson now. I want to thank those individuals who took the time to watch the uploads on my newer channel, including the female figure aficionado channel. This is nothing to compare to what I've witnessed on your pods before. No, absolutely. I mean, I've had some real winners, without a doubt. I have had some real winners, had some real losers, without a doubt. Oh, unfortunately, I still like the Grateful Dead for nostalgia reasons. What can I say? I don't get laid often. Listen, Five of Pentacles. Listen, another fucking channel. I hear you. Five of Pentacles, depending on your perspective and point of view. We're in the money, or we're all broke. But some say if we're all broke, at least we're broke together. Tim Frey says Michael Madsen would have loved this card. Five is the number associated with humans, human beings. So it's no wonder that the Five of Coins oftentimes is seen as having, because coins is the suit of the material world, material possessions, that oftentimes it could be associated with hard times. But it's all relational. In other ways, in other words, it's all how you look at it. It's all a matter of perspective and perception. You worry about it because it goes, but knowing that it can go means that we should know that it can come back. And it is of the stuff of this world, but we are of this world. We are in this world. so we can get it. And we can often get it together, and we can bring it together. And when it's missing, we can shelter together. And when it's in low supply, we can bring those supplies together to bring the few, the one, the two, the three, the four, the five singles into the five collected. Perception, perspective, how we look at it. Okay, folks. Can't always get what you want, but if we look, we just might find we got what we needed. I love you. I love you. I love you. Nobody told you they loved you today. Somebody just did. That somebody is C.W. Chanter, and or, as my detractors sometimes know me, folks. Oh, I told you I was going to tell you about YouTubers that I like and know. Notepad Anon. Notepad Anon, a aficionado of Japanese TTRPGs, is going to be moving to Japan. So they basically announced that there would be a slowdown in their content creation. And Deathstalker 5 over at the Random Encounter Show, whose output is almost exclusively at this point their monthly members videos. They announced that one of their members had to drop off the supporter role, so we had to bid a fond adieu to Lightning Hit My Ear Trumpet from that community. I've been a member of the Deathstalker 5 Random Encounter Show army for, God, I think years. Since they started offering memberships, I think. So, transitions and changes. Transitions and changes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we keep it real here. Because we are real here. Because we're trying to make it through the rain. Because we are making it through the rain. Thanks for your company, Chegs. Renee Miss Genocide. Have a great weekend. Have you all a great weekend. Thank you. Hope it wasn't too much of a pity party. Don't know what to tell you other than life sometimes happens. And like I said, folks, I'll say it again. I said before, I said it again. I don't get random trolls. The people that come and have always given me the hardest times are people that I've always known for years. It's like living in an old folks' home where the constant threat is you're just waiting for your friends and neighbors to succumb to eventual dementia. And it's just a matter of time till you turn to your last lover left and they go blah 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 blah, blah and they try to attack you or something. You know what I mean? Charles Williamson. I mean, it's like when Oswald Spagman just started going crazy and started saying like racist shit in the live chat. I was like, what the fuck's going on? It just gets nuts. You know what I mean? You know? But there are people who think I'm the world's biggest asshole, right? People have a hard on about me and the things that I did. All right? Just keep on keeping on. And hope we left behind enough digital ones and zeros that the replicator bots have enough to work with to recreate and patch up the next round of dancing people, smoking light machines for the magic movie show to project onto the cave, right? But perchance it was just a bad night for philosophical musings on a Friday. Or maybe it was a perfect night for philosophical musings on a Friday. Didn't I already say it's all how you look at it? It's all about the perception. C'est la vie. And I'll be back in a day or two. And I'll have cyanide pills for me and you. And you can run, but you won't get far enough. And I'll catch you. What Minecraft figure? It's the 5 of coins, dude. No more for you, man. I love you. Hello. I love you. Won't you tell me your name? Hello. I love you. Won't you jump in my game? Hello. I love you. Charles Williams went insane. I love it. God, Charles John Williamson, man. Call me when it wears off, dude. You are on something else, man. I don't know what the hell happened to you, bro. There you go. Anyway, I love you. I love you all. Okay. Sleep it off and I'll call you in the morning. Okay. Until next time. Where we'll cover, I gotta get back to the cover of the jump change, doing something organized in my life or something, man. It's joke aside. Anyway, until next time, keep your pants on. Okay? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Kick. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on all the things. Join the Patreon. Don't join the Patreon. Do whatever you want to do. Okay? Send PayPal. Send, donos. Send your mom something nice for her birthday. Okay? See what I did there? Okay? Be good. Be better. Be better than good. Be best.